Right, one of the systems that is quite useful to have in a database is the ability to archive data. Now, archiving is the process of taking data from a primary or commonly used table and moving that data to a backup table. Now, you'll have noticed from the previous exercise that we've already done append queries and delete queries, where append copies data to one table and delete deletes data from a table. So logically, if we used a system of linking an append query with a delete query, we will end up with an archiving system of some description. The only question is, how do I get the system to run an append query, then run a delete query? Well, I've already created my append query from a previous exercise, and if you remember, if you've done that exercise, it goes to the field CD number and appends based on the criteria that's been typed in. So if I typed in criteria number 1 into this query, it would paste the data or copy the data from the table stock here into the table append here. Now what I need to do next is have a system of deleting, and then I need to link the two together. So the first thing I do now is create an identical delete query to the append query. Now the best way for me to show this is just do it from scratch. So I go to query, new, design view, add the table I want to delete from, which is the table stock, and close. Now I double click and add all the fields, change the query type to delete, and delete criteria, and I'm going to type something in here and you'll see why in a minute. It's a parameter query, so square brackets. Please confirm the CD number to be deleted. Now I'll save that and call it query parameter delete CD number, and click on OK. Now you can see I've got two queries now. I've got one that appends stock based on the parameter and one that deletes stock based on the parameter. Now I'll just rename that so it's a bit clearer, CD number. Now I haven't used any hard fast conventions here, so I'm a bit slack with that, but I'm sure you'll be better than I am. Now what I want to do now is to run the append query and then run the delete query, not the other way around. If I delete the data before I append it, there'll be nothing left to append. So how do I run the append and then how do I run the delete? Well, the simple answer is with a macro. If I go to macros and I go to new, and now I want to open one of the queries here, and the first query I want to open is the append query, and then I want to open the second query in the series, which is the delete query. Parameter delete CD number. Now all I need to do is to close this macro, to save it, call it macro, so m archive stock, and click on OK. Now I've already named a macro this name earlier, don't have to worry about that, yours won't do that. Click on yes, and now I've got a macro called archive stock, and it should first of all run the parameter query append, then it should run the parameter query delete. So let's give that a go now. And what I'm going to try and do is to remove CD number 2 from my database and append that or archive that into the tstock append table. So let's give that a go. If I run the archive stock macro, the first thing it does is ask me for the CD number to be copied, because that was the parameter I entered into the append query, number 2. And now on OK, it asks me to confirm. You can see now why I typed that in, the CD number to be deleted. Now obviously there is room for error here. You could have a user that types in the wrong number, so it'll append one and then delete another, but we'll trust our users not to do that. I know generally speaking you can't trust users to do anything, but we'll just do that for now and click on OK. And if you go to tables, the stock, you can see now that number 2 has been removed from this table. If we go to the append table, you can see that number 2 now resides in the append table. So we've effectively archived that record. As I said, it's not a perfect system. It's not a nicely slick system where one query passes a parameter to the next query. However, it's quite an easy way and quite a cute way of archiving data, if not a perfect system. And that's it.